You're listening to the 2024 Christmas Share-a-thon on the Guadalupe Radio Network. The phone number to call in and donate is 1-800-476-3311. I'm Wyatt Goolsby, the Executive Director of KSHJ, the Guadalupe radio station in Houston, Texas. The theme for this Share-a-thon is Rejoice. Join us here in the Houston studio is Cristina Negron. She's a real estate agent based in Katy, Texas, and she's a supporter of our network. She's also a parish ambassador. Cristina and her sons have even answered phones for share-a-thons like this one in the past. Cristina, welcome back to the radio station. Thanks for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Tell me about when you first heard about the Guadalupe Radio Network. I want to say it was a little bit, maybe over 5 years ago or so. What was your first encounter, experience, or event?
Wow, it's been that long, huh?
Something like that.
Yeah. One of my friends shared with me an email for the Catholic breakfast, the networking breakfast, and it caught my attention. I'm like, wait a second, a Catholic networking breakfast? Well, I'm a realtor, right? So that's what we do, we network. And I was like, oh, let me check this out. It was at 7 in the morning. My husband was still at home with the kids. I definitely could make it happen. So I showed up, and it was very full. It was a lot of people that I knew that I didn't even know some of them were Catholic. And it was amazing to be networking with people that share your same faith. And the talk was very fulfilling. I think it was Deacon Ted Heap was the person talking, and the food was delicious. And we sat in tables afterwards and just mingled and talked about our business and what we do and things like that. And it was very enlightening. I enjoyed it. It was good.
And I want to give credit to one of my colleagues. His name's Tim Mott here in Houston. And in several years past, he's helped to organize a number of those prayer breakfasts like the one that you've been to. And you're right, it's great for community, people come together who, you can't always necessarily gather in church, or you may not always be at the same church. But like you were saying, you enjoy it, and you got to kind of expand your group of friends and networking folks.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about, so in years then afterwards, you kind of got more involved with the Guadalupe Radio Network.
Yes, so it started with the breakfast, and then as time went by, I did the Catholic Share-a-thon, and when we did the Share-a-thon the first year, of course I didn't know what I was doing, but I got training and everything here right away, and it was very exciting. I did the Share-a-thon, then we did more Catholic breakfasts, and then in another Catholic breakfast, I met one of the ladies that was homeschooling and was doing the roundup, the bulletin roundup, and my kids had just started homeschooling. This was right after COVID, and I got them involved, and it was like our own little community. We would meet here once every couple of weeks. And we would do the PSAs for the church's bulletins that we picked our own announcements to advertise. Yeah. And the boys would do the board themselves and edit the program. And it was a fantastic experience because it was like a small little family that we came here and shared. And that made me even more involved. And so I started doing more share-a-thons and going to more networking breakfasts. And even my kids, they were older, they were teenagers, so they wanted to work the share-a-thons too and share with, their faith with other people. And it's been a wonderful experience.
And credit to your two sons, Lucas and Nicholas, who kind of jumped in there at certain share-a-thons, at least in the past couple of years, where they've kind of jumped in and answered some phone calls and taken down pledges. It's pretty fun to see them really get involved and talk with different people from all across the country, and you just never know who you're going to end up talking to.
Yes.
I know you, for example, have answered some phone calls. I think anything that's just been totally out of the blue that took you by surprise?
Well, it was my very first share-a-thon. I think I'd answered maybe 1 or 2 calls. Maybe this was the third one. And this lady calls in and starts talking about I want to donate the year of the apparition of this Marian apparition in so-and-so place. And I'm like, I am not very good at history, and I have
You don't remember all these dates and
I have
stuff.
a really good Catholic background, but at the end of the day, when it comes to dates, I am absolutely not the person to ask. And I'm like here thinking, oh my gosh, if I don't know the date, will she still donate? And I'm just freaking out, going, somebody help me, please, somebody help me. And it just turned out that she was going to donate the amount of the year of that Marian apparition. And so that was really interesting experience there.
Yeah, welcome to the volunteering at the Share-a-thon, right? I mean, what a welcome. But no, I want to give credit to some of our GRN colleagues like Cecil Anderson, who often call for that. She'll get on the radio and be like, if you want to donate based on the year of a Marian apparition, 1531, for example, to call in and donate that $15.31. So that's it's a great idea. But you're right, for the new volunteers at the time for you, it got a little confusing.
It was a little
just to sort through it. Yeah. I often find myself having to look up on my phone which dates are which Marian apparition, which one's Fatima, and which one's Lourdes, and sort through it myself. So, I don't blame you, Cristina, for not remembering offhand. Okay, what's the one date when this happened, and when did Mary appear here this year or this century in which city?
Yep.
So, that's something that we all get a little bit better at, and trying to remember all these important dates. But now that you've done that for several years, you've gotten comfortable with it. Is it rewarding for you to be able to volunteer at the radio station, help support us, and help support what we're doing, even if it's just simply answering phones and helping out?
Oh my gosh,
drive?
I love it. I look forward to the dates that I can do it. I'm busy and I have to plan it on my calendar, and it doesn't get moved. It's like it's there. It's like I tell my kids, if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. But as soon as I have a date for something in the radio station, it's there on my calendar right away, because it is fulfilling. It fills me in more ways than I can count. And I feel that our family has had so many blessings just because of that one prayer breakfast that we went to, and everything else that has happened since. And my kids are involved in the church. They love volunteering here in the radio station, as well as in their church and in their school. And I enjoy volunteering here so much. Every time I have an opportunity, I do it, because I feel that it's full of blessings. And you guys are like this little family that I know that always remembers who I am when I walk in. And there's always food and cookies. That's amazing.
Food is always a great incentive, isn't it? No matter what.
But at the end of the day, I just love the family feeling that I get, and having to be able to give back to my community, my Catholic community, by helping the radio station.
No, we appreciate your saying that. And of course, like I was telling you before, your boys, Nicholas and Lucas, are always welcome to come back, no matter what their age is. Once they get beyond the teenage years, they're always welcome to come back and to voice those PSAs that you were referring to before. I mentioned that you live in Katy. Tell me the churches that you've been involved with there in Katy.
So I've been in St. Eastine for the longest time, since we moved to Texas in 2008. Mm-hmm. And my kids are altar servers there. I'm a Eucharistic minister. We've done the Acts Retreat. My husband and I served as catechists there. Mm-hmm. Now we are also going to Epiphany, and we're also parishioners there as well. And my kids, they're older, so they don't want to switch churches because they have their group of friends. But my little one is going to their school, Epiphany of the Lord Catholic School. Mm-hmm. So David is in kindergarten, and his friends are in Epiphany. So we are going to Epiphany of the Lord as well, and helping there, and volunteering in the school, and volunteering in the church, and doing the Acts Retreat, and being Eucharistic minister and everything. So hopefully, David will be an altar server in Epiphany soon, when he turns 7 and does his first communion.
That sounds fun. I had fun when I was an altar server in Catholic school, and it was really a strong foundation for me, having that Catholic education. So I I anticipate David will get involved. He seems to be somebody who is really liking prayer right now. You're telling me he kind of spur of the moment kind of started praying
Oh my gosh.
the Hail Mary. I wonder, and I don't, I think it's thanks to your getting so involved in all these different Catholic activities,
Yeah.
and the prayer and everything like that. I also want to ask you, Christina, about why you think it's important for people to support this particular ministry. Like I said, it's benefited you, it's benefited for your family, your sons, your oldest sons in particular. But for people who might be listening, calling in, why do you think it's important that they give what they can, what they're able to?
Well, I mean, every little helps, right? Even if it's $5, we'd like 500 or 5,000,
Sure.
but every little helps. And from what I understand, the radio station doesn't have any other way of making the money that they need to run.
Right. That's right.
So I feel that we have to give what we can, sometimes a little bit of more, because, $20, we spend $20 in anything these days.
Mm-hmm.
And $20 a month, $30 a month, $40 a month is really not that much when in this big scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, this radio station helps so many souls. Some of them convert. Some of them go through difficult times. Some of them create a family when they need it most. God puts the people in your life when you need it most, and sometimes you don't even realize it. And I think the radio station is one of those things. We had a parishioner, one of the new ambassadors, telling us about her story, about how her car, the radio station started working randomly one day, and it was the AM 1430.
Yep.
And
on.
I mean, can you imagine if God can make that happen, and you can listen to talks that are about what you believe in, and some of the shows talk about questions that we have in our faith, and you can go through the app, or you can and pick the show that you want to listen to,
Mm-hmm.
and listen to it at your convenience. I mean, there are so many good things that come out of it. I think people should help us get through this time, and help us, if you're thinking about it and thinking, it's not enough money because I can't give that much, think about the last time you had a Starbucks coffee or you bought McDonald's. I mean, it's so much more expensive to buy one round of those than it is to contribute for a monthly pledge.
Right.
And you get the blessings back because God doesn't let it go. He knows he keeps tabs.
He certainly does. And like you said, anybody can listen to the radio. They could be in their car randomly and flip it on and listen to the Guadalupe Radio Network, and you just never know what kind of impact that's going to have on people. Again, if you're just now listening, you are listening to the Christmas Share-a-thon here on the Guadalupe Radio Network. The phone number to call in and donate is 1-800-476-3311. Again, 1-800-476-3311. This is Wyatt Goolsby sitting next to Cristina Negron in our Houston office. Cristina has answered those phones for our share-a-thon. She's been a volunteer, one of those friendly voices that you hear when you call in and make a pledge of support. So we're asking you to do so right now to help keep our media ministry going during this time. Cristina had made mention of the fact that it is a critical time for us, so we really appreciate, again, calling in 1-800-476-3311. Cristina, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your own favorite prayers or personal devotion to Jesus as our Lord, because the theme of our Share-a-thon is rejoice. And so we've been thinking a lot about the joy of Christ, certainly coming since Christmas is coming. And trying to think about the true meaning behind Christmas. Do you have any special prayers, devotions, or anything that brings you closer to Christ and brings out that joy within you?
So I love the Divine Mercy Chaplet.
Mm-hmm.
A while back during COVID, our family lived all over the United States and Puerto Rico. And my Uncle Richard decided that he was going to start a prayer Zoom. And when Zoom got really popular, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to do the rosary. But it got everybody together, but everybody was talking for so long, and we were chit-chatting and having a good time before we actually started praying, that our 40 minutes came up. And so we decided that we needed a shorter prayer. And so somebody suggested, let's do the Divine Mercy Chaplet. And a lot of our family members knew it, but we hadn't really used it a lot. And we got united as a family, as an extended family. I'm talking aunts, uncles, cousins, you know, my own mom and my uncles, and we got united as a family during that time. For the first few months of COVID, we did it daily, and then we went to do it weekly, once a week, because, you know, life got busy again, and we still do it. We do it once a month, and we get in Zoom, most of us, and we pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet. We ask for our family's souls in purgatory, for their eternal rest. And even my kids jump into the prayer at times and continue with us. And it's just something that has really brought our family together.
It's amazing how prayer can unite us, not just spiritually, but in your case, literally, with family members over Zoom or in person. That's pretty amazing because, often we get together during the holidays and during special events during the year, but that's pretty incredible how prayer, and you can do that anytime. You pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet anytime. And it's not a very long prayer, is it? It's only about 10, 15 minutes to pray it.
Well, if timed by my kids, it's actually 7.
Oh, okay. See, and your kids are pretty smart about timing it. They'll do it too.
Yes.
That's pretty funny. One last question. Do you, again, we're going to be celebrating the Christmas season. Obviously, as you know, we have a lot of distractions during this time period, especially coming up on Christmas. We live in a secular society that often promotes commercialism, and people get away behind the true meaning of Christmas. Any suggestions for people out there who might feel distracted, Christina, in terms of prayers, things that they can do to try to unite closer to Christ? Like I say, I know you have a very busy life being a realtor, being able to answer phones and stuff like that. How do you find time just to try to sit and be with God?
I'm not very good at this every day, but I've been consciously making an effort every morning to start my day with prayer. And it's interesting because we don't usually give God the credit that we should give when we start our day like that. There's many times that I go about the day and I forgot to pray and my day is chaotic and I'm struggling keeping track of time and picking up kids and meeting with my clients and, writing out contracts and doing timelines and deadlines. And at the end of the day, if I sit down and take 5 minutes and start praying and ask God to take care of my day, it literally just flows. It's an incredible sensation. So I decided one day I was gonna, and it's a habit that I have to form because I recently just started it, to start the morning a little earlier and sit down by myself without any distractions before the kids get up. And I start a couple of prayers that I do, and then I give my day to God. And I think that helps me focus better and concentrate on the fact that He is in charge and that I will do my part of the job during the day, and everything else, I give it to Him. And He really does take care of it. And I think my kids have caught on, and they have always been good about celebrating Jesus' birth for Christmas. So it's not a struggle that I've had to go through, dividing Santa Claus from the whole Christmas thing, because my kids have always understood that it was Christmas for Jesus and that we got gifts because it was Jesus' birthday. But those parents that have the struggle of, the materialistic part of Christmas, I would just say, take a few moments to acknowledge God in the morning. And that just helps so much more. And before you know it, you are actually more in tune with God and your faith and your beliefs and everything that you believe in. It's an incredible feeling.
Amen, Christina. I think that's such great advice. Just take time to pray, even if it's just a little prayer in the morning. It's amazing how just doing that on a daily basis can have an impact. It's something everyone can do. So I love that piece of advice. That's perfect. I want to thank you, Cristina Negron, for taking the time to be here to talk with us about your support of our ministry. Thank you in all the different ways that you've supported our ministry, whether it's attending a prayer breakfast, volunteering, bringing your kids here so they can voice a PSA, monetary donation, everything. We really appreciate that, and it's folks like you that we're able to sustain our ministry. We really appreciate it, and we want to encourage everyone out there to do the same and continue to call in and maybe even volunteer too. If you can call in, make a pledge of donation, now's a great time to do so. It's 1-800-476-3311. Again, 1-800-476-3311. Volunteers are standing by, like Cristina, to answer your phone call and to take your pledge of support. Again, this is Wyatt Goolsby alongside Cristina Negron in Houston, and you are listening to the 2024 Christmas Share-a-thon here on the Guadalupe Radio Network.